we have already learned that pancreas is a mixed gland as it has both exocrine as well as endocrine functions. Such mixed glands are technically called heterocrine glands. Similarly, gonads, that is testes in males and ovaries in females, are also heterocrine glands because their exocrine part produce gametes, that is sperms in males and ova in females, whereas their endocrine part secrete sex hormones. However, in contrast, although liver has both exocrine as well as endocrine functions, it is not considered as a heterocrine gland because the hormones and prohormones secreted by it are not considered as its primary role. Therefore, we can simply say that liver has mostly exocrine function along with some important endocrine-like functions too. We know that liver produces bile. This bile is released in the duodenum through ducts, which is its exocrine function. Now we will learn about the endocrine-like function of the liver. Liver releases hormones and prohormone directly into the bloodstream, that is without any duct. The hormones secreted by liver are insulin-like growth factor 1, thrombopoietin and hepcidin. And the prohormone secreted by liver is angiotensinogen. Let us first discuss about insulin-like growth factor 1, which is a hormone. Insulin-like growth factor 1, which is also called IGF-1 in short, IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. It is a protein hormone which is produced mainly in the liver in response to growth hormone. So insulin-like growth factor 1 is a protein hormone which is produced mainly in the liver in response to growth hormone. We know that the anterior pituitary gland secretes growth hormone which travels through the blood to reach the liver. In response to growth hormone, the liver synthesizes and releases the hormone insulin-like growth factor 1. This insulin-like growth factor 1 mediates many of the growth promoting effects of the growth hormone. IGF-1 stimulates longitudinal bone growth at the epiphyseal plate. Now, what do we mean by epiphyseal plate? The epiphyseal plate, which is also called the growth plate, is a plate of hyaline cartilage which is located between the epiphysis, that is end, and the metaphysis, that is the shaft region of a growing long bone. So, insulin-like growth factor 1 stimulates longitudinal bone growth at the epiphyseal plates. Secondly, IGF-1 also promotes cartilage growth. Insulin-like growth factor 1, or which is also known as IGF-1, increases protein synthesis and helps in muscle growth. IGF-1 also stimulates cell division and promotes tissue growth in many organs. Here it is to be noted that many of the growth promoting effects of growth hormone are indirect and occur through insulin-like growth factor 1. Let us now discuss about thrombopoietin. Thrombopoietin is a glycoprotein hormone which is primarily produced in the liver. It is also produced in smaller amounts by kidneys and bone marrow stromal cells. Thrombopoietin stimulates platelet production. Now we will discuss about hepcidin. Hepcidin is a peptide hormone which is produced mainly by the hepatocytes. It plays a central role in regulating iron metabolism. We generally pronounce it as iron, but the actual pronunciation is not iron, it is iron. Hepcidin decreases the amount of iron entering the bloodstream by inhibiting iron absorption from the small intestine and by preventing iron release in the blood from the macrophages and hepatocytes. So hepcidin decreases the amount of iron entering the bloodstream by inhibiting iron absorption from the small intestine and by preventing iron release in the blood from macrophages and hepatocytes. This is the function of hepcidin. Finally, we will be discussing about the prohormone angiotensinogen. Angiotensinogen is a hormone precursor, that is a prohormone which is produced by the liver. Angiotensinogen being a prohormone, it is inactive. But renin, which is released by the kidney, convert this inactive angiotensinogen to another inactive prohormone which is called angiotensin 1. So renin, which is released by the kidney, convert angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1 Now, the angiotensin converting enzyme, which is written as ACE in short, angiotensin converting enzyme, which is primarily found on the endothelial cells of the pulmonary capillaries, convert this inactive angiotensin 1 into the active hormone angiotensin 2. So, angiotensin converting enzyme helps in the conversion of inactive angiotensin 1 to active hormone angiotensin 2. Angiotensin converting enzyme is also present in the endothelial cells of many other tissues including kidneys, blood vessels, heart, brain and intestinal mucosa. Angiotensin 2, which is ultimately produced, causes vasoconstriction. This causes vasoconstriction, thus increases the blood pressure. Thus we can say that the prohormone angiotensinogen, which is produced by the liver, is actually related to blood pressure. This part is very much important because when we will be studying about the various antihypertensives like angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor or ACE inhibitors or angiotensin receptor blocker, then this concept will help you. So this is all about the endocrine-like function of the liver, which is important for you to remember before you appear to NEET undergraduate examination.